Hey guys, we're live. We're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my guest is Eric from the Reselling Teacher. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for coming on and hanging out with us today.
Yeah.
Go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience in case they don't know who you are. Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
So my name is Eric. I live in Michigan, and I kind of got into this world in 2017. I was a high school teacher and
Yeah.
administrator towards the end of my career, and spent about 20 years doing that. And I was scrolling through Facebook one day, and someone posted a video, and they made a comment about selling on Amazon, or they made a comment about, and I was kind of confused because I just assumed that everything that was sold on Amazon was sold by Amazon, the company. As a consumer, I never knew about third party selling. And so I went on YouTube and kind of started doing some searches and stuff. And I kind of came across some people that were doing creating some content around reselling. And I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world, man. I just thought it was like, I kind of love dusty thrift stores. My mom was kind of a garage sale, like that's just kind of what she did. And we were always kind of, looking for bargains and values. And so I started watching some videos and started flipping some stuff from like thrift stores on anywhere I could at the beginning, eBay, Mercari, Amazon, and then I would start flipping stuff from like Facebook Marketplace
Right.
to. So I would sit on my phone and I would look through what people were selling on Facebook Marketplace, and I would check the prices that they were asking and compare those prices to either eBay solds or Amazon, and just kind of I just started flipping stuff. I was still teaching full time, and so that was in the summer of 2017. I went back to school in the fall of 2017, and I
Right.
still wanted to keep doing this, but I was back to working full time. And so what I did was I got into online arbitrage, which I'm sure your listeners are familiar with. But I was basically just, because I was at work during the day, I needed to have inventory kind of waiting for me because I didn't really have time to go out and source. So I got into online arbitrage. I would get home from work and there would be boxes of inventory there for me to prep and ship. And I did that all through 2018 and got to the point where it was I was close enough to replacing my income. We'd kind of put ourselves in a position financially where we could kind of take a risk. We had a little bit of, we weren't going to lose our house if this reselling thing didn't succeed. And so I made the decision at the end of the 2018 school year to just go full time. And so, yeah, from, I guess, June of 2018, I've been full time reseller, primarily on Amazon. I was on eBay, on Mercari early on. Occasionally, we'll still throw some stuff up on eBay, returns and damaged goods and stuff like that. But primarily just sell almost exclusively on Amazon now as a wholesale seller.
Okay, so basically, you were a school teacher. You were doing that for about 20 years. And what were you teaching? High school, or what were you teaching?
Yeah, I taught high school. I was a business teacher and a technology teacher. So I taught courses like accounting, small business management. We had a school store and I helped run that. This was over the expanse of my career. I didn't do this every single, like throughout the career. But from a technology standpoint, I taught web design, some computer programming type classes and computer applications, teaching kids how to use, Microsoft Word and Excel and stuff like that. So we call it up here in Michigan, we call it career and technical education. Some states call it vocational education, but I was kind of in that world of teaching kids business/computer skills at the high school.
Okay, cool. And so let me ask you a question. So you retired early from being a teacher, right? So when you retired, you still have all your health insurance benefits, and did you get a pension and all that when you retired and left your teaching career?
So I was I'm considered vested, so I will get up. So I did. There was some sacrifice. So I left. I actually had 26 years in the pension system because they allow you to early in your career. They encourage you and allow you to kind of buy years towards early retirement. So I bought 6 years. So I taught 20, bought 6. So in the system, I was at 26 years. I needed to get to 30 to be able to pull an active pension, when I left, but I just couldn't do it anymore, man. I was burned out. I was ready for a career change. I was ready for a second half of life, new adventure. And so I still get a pension, but I can't draw it until I'm whatever, the 58 and a half or 59 and a half or something like that. So,
Yeah. I was
so
just wondering. Yeah.
yeah.
I worked a union job in the past for about 10 years, and I'm vested and I have a pension, but I can't access it till I'm like 60 or 65, whatever it is. And it's not even tons of money. It's like $700-800 a month. It's not like nothing to write home about because I only did 10 years. I didn't do 30 years. So it's like, it's like maybe in the future, in 30 years from now, it might be enough to get like, a carton of groceries or something. Like it may not, it's not like something that's going to like pay a mortgage or a car payment or something. It might pay a cell phone bill and I'll have enough for milk and cookies. That'll be it. So, right.
I was never planning on that being our main retirement. My wife's company had a 401k that, was tied to the market and had matching and things like that. So we were really kind of pushing all our money towards that. Pensions are, pensions are a little bit, at any point, somebody could say, hey, the well's dry, and so I was always careful. I didn't want to necessarily put all my eggs in that basket. But at some point, 59 or 60, I'll be able to pull, probably, I don't know, a couple, maybe $2,000 a month or something like that. I mean, I was in, like I said, I've got 26 years in the system.
Yeah.
Needed to get to 30, so I'll still have something. Maybe it's enough to pay my property taxes or something when I get to that age. And
right, I'm sure. Right, it won't account to a hill of beans with the way inflation's going up. It's like people think like, well, the cost of everything's going up. It's like, no, dude, the money in your wallet is being devalued and it's going down. That's what's happening. That's why when you go there and it's like, this let's say a dozen eggs used to be $1.99 and you go back and now it's $4.99. And it's like, it's not that the cost of everything went up. It's like the value of your currency is going down. But anyways, we didn't come in to talk about the currencies today. So I wanted to learn a little bit about kind of like what happened. I wanted to kind of walk us through the whole process of how did you go from being a school teacher, you were watching a YouTube video, something like a light bulb went off in your brain and you're just like, wait a minute, I can do this. I think I can go and find items and flip them and resell them. So what was that like, light bulb moment that went off in your brain, and what was it that kind of got you to start trending in that direction to be like, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to separate from being a school teacher and be self-employed. Like, how did that process go for you?
Well, I had been, I would say the first 10 years of my teaching career, I really, really enjoyed it. Looked forward to it. I was proud of being a teacher. I would say the second half of my career, it just progressively got more and more. I just wasn't satisfied. I wasn't fulfilled. It was, I think the biggest thing that I missed was I felt like I was stuck in the movie Groundhog Day. Like I felt like every teaching day was essentially the same. You get to the end of the year, you start the same classes and the same, content, and you're dealing with the same issues of, not enough funding and, testing and, all the bureaucracy that comes with education. So I was getting pretty burned out. I don't know if that's the right word. I had a midlife, it wasn't a midlife crisis, but like a midlife realization that I'm not getting off this ball, this globe, this earth. I'm not getting off alive. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of came to the conclusion, like reality set in, like, hey man, there's going to be a day when I breathe my last breath. And so I'm like, okay, I'm halfway there, hopefully, relatively speaking, I'm in my early 40s. I'm about halfway through. It's the second half of life. Like, what do I want to do in the second half to make it better than the first half? You know what I mean? And so when I saw the video about reselling and I started kind of going down the YouTube rabbit trail, I was just fascinated by the variety of ways there were to make money. Every day, if you wanted to, every day could be a new adventure. Every thrift store could be a new adventure. Every estate sale could be a new adventure. And that was polar opposite of what I had experienced in education, where I felt like every day looked exactly the same. And so I started following guys like Reezy on YouTube, Blake Knobloch, I'm trying to flip a dollar, some of these guys. And I was just so envious of their like Blake in particular, I don't know if you're familiar with Walter Blake Knobloch.
Yeah, I
But
had WBK on about a month ago.
yeah, and Blake was up here in our warehouse a couple months ago. Got to meet him finally. He's one of my Mount Rushmore kind of superheroes. But just this like life of just adventure and this life of fun, and it's like, dude, we can make money selling, clothes. We can make money selling, estate sale jewelry. We can make money selling video games. We can make money selling electronic. Like that variety of life, that adventure. That is what does the tomorrow look like compared to today. And that's what I think really, really flipped the switch for me. It was just like, I'm in a position financially where second half of life, I can get to do something adventurous. You know what I mean? And if it fails, I can always go back to teaching. I can always go find another teaching job. And so that's when I heard about it and I went out and tried it. And I think I scanned a couple books at Goodwill. I think I found enough stuff to kind of create a box and ship it to Amazon. And the first time something sold on Amazon, I don't know, I've never used heroin, but I feel like it was the equivalent of like a junkie, like putting a needle in their arm. Like I was hooked, man. It was just the coolest thing. And I'm like, this is what I want the second half of my life to be like. I want it to be creative. I want it to be different. I want it to be, just I want every day to be unique and yeah. So man, I got to the end of that school year and never looked back. And you couldn't, if they called and asked, if they came back and offered to triple, quadruple my salary, like it wouldn't be an option.
I'm with you. Yeah,
the weight of I can't even describe it. Like the feeling of being free to just kind of pursue what you want. Like there's not a dollar figure that that you can put a price tag on.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a process. I think when I left my corporate job, it was like in 2016, and I was driving a forklift for General Electric, and I was there for 10 plus years. And it was just at the point where the company had got sold to this Chinese company called Harrier. They were downsizing. They were outsourcing my whole department, and I was just ready to. It was time to do something else. So, but yeah, everyone's going to be in that situation sooner or later. Something's going to happen. If you don't move on life will move on you. That's the way it works. Because I wasn't planning. Like I wanted to stay there and retire, but at the same time, it was like I've been there, done that. I had my 10 years of seniority and with the company, and after a while, it was just like it was time to transition on. And yeah, I definitely understand what you're talking about. I wouldn't call it like a midlife crisis. It would be more like a midlife awakening. Like I just turned. I'm 36, and I was just told like the example a couple days ago. DMX passed away. He was only 50 years old. Yeah. So you never know how many years you have to live. So you don't want to take that for granted. Like you said, you just never know how much time you have left. So we're live streaming. So I want to say hello to a few people in the chat.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to say hello to Amanda Brown. I wanted to say hello to Dumpster Diver Dad. Regina is here in the chat. I want to say hello to Regina. The Flippin' Accountant is here. I wanted to say hello to Justin. And the Hollywood Reseller is here. And I wanted to say hello. Says, do you find reselling in a way therapeutic? So we're going to catch a few of these questions real quick. The Flippin' Accountant says, what is your favorite categories to sell in? Now, you mainly sell on Amazon. So I want our audience to be clarified on that, correct?
Sure. Yeah, I'm 99.9%. In fact, I'm looking at a stack of stuff that needs to go on eBay, and I'm just dreading it because, there are pros and cons. I chose to kind of learn, really, really understand and learn Amazon, and so for me, selling on Amazon is just so much easier. The listings are already there. All you got to do, the pictures are already there, the content's already there. All you have to do is just jump on and say, hey, I'm selling this too. You know what I mean? And so for me, there's pros and cons. The margins, the fulfillment fees, especially if you're using fulfillment by Amazon, those fees are a little bit higher for sure. And I don't have any. I'm not anti eBay at all. I got to, because early on when I first got into this, I sold on any. Basically, I took about $2,500 of family money and kind of put it into this reselling business, and then I basically was just trying to flip that as many times as I could to keep buying more inventory. So if that meant buying something and flip it on eBay to get some cash, no problem. If that meant selling it on Mercari, selling it locally, I would sell anything and anywhere. But for me, I was for some reason I was always kind of intrigued by Amazon, and I thought for where I wanted to get from a scaling standpoint, I thought personally for me I could scale this business the easiest on Amazon. So that's kind of the way my direction went. But to go back and ask to answer the question about categories, we primarily sell groceries, things that have longer shelf lives, seasonings, sauces, things that are in jars, things that certain candies. And we're not exclusive to that category, but that's kind of like the bread and butter is groceries. We'll sell health and beauty things like shampoos and deodorants and toothpaste and different things like that. But I've done everything. I've done automotive parts. I've done, medicines, over-the-counter medicines, a little bit of everything, but I would say the bread and butter. The reason I like the grocery category is because the returns are really, really low. You don't get a lot of returns. Really, the only time you get returns for the most part is if for some reason something arrives and it was damaged in shipping. You don't get I tried it on, it doesn't fit. You don't get, most people aren't going to try to scam you out of a bottle of hot sauce, you know what I mean? As opposed to if you're selling a laptop or something like that. So that's kind of why I think that's kind of how I gravitated towards grocery.
Okay, cool. I wanted to say hello to Regina. Michelle is in the chat. I wanted to say hello to Annie is here. I wanted to say hello to Chandra Hatley. I hope I pronounced your name properly. And the Hollywood Reseller says, do you find reselling in a way therapeutic? You want to answer his question?
I would even go farther to say that this experience for me has been a very, I'm going to use the word spiritual, but I want to explain what I mean by that.
Yeah.
This experience. So the treasure hunting part of this was always fun to me. You know what I mean? Going to a garage sale and going, what am I going to find? What am I going to make money on? Or, what's here? Growing this business has been very, it's allowed me to kind of confront a lot of the programming about myself and like a lot of the things I believed about myself and a lot of the doubts and things like that. So, because you run into hurdles and things aren't easy, and then I start hearing this voice in the back of my head going, you should just quit. This is really hard. You're never going to get to the same level as some of these other guys, or you see people on social media and you're like, holy cow, man, that's, I want to be there too. And so it's actually the thing in my life, I think, that's like really causing me to kind of look internally,
right,
and kind of like root out the lies and root out the things that I told myself, or maybe I picked up as a kid at home or at school or whatever. So that it's been a really, really positive experience for me. It's helped me become it really has helped me become a better person.
All right. So Eric, tell the people in the audience, you do have a warehouse. Is that correct? Do you think it's like a 3,000 or 4,000 square foot warehouse? Talk to us about your warehouse.
Yeah, we've got let's see if I can do this without breaking the chat here. We've got a 4,000 square foot building here. This used to be a hardware store. It's about 6 miles from my house. And I was driving by one day and I saw it. And we just reached out. One of my buddies knew the owner. His daughter a guy I used to teach with, his daughter ran track for him. And he said, I know the guy, that owns that building. And I was like, give me his number. I was still working out of my garage at the time. Yeah. And they gave me a great deal on the lease. It literally takes me 6 minutes to get here from my house. And so we moved into this particular building in January of 2020. We were in the same facility. We were just in a smaller building when I first started. I went kitchen table, den, garage, smaller building, and then we moved in here in 2020. So it's just an old hardware store that went out of business that we just use it as a warehouse now.
All right, so explain a little bit about what exactly is it that you use your warehouse for? Is it like a processing facility? Is it storage? Like, kind of explain your business model, because you from the title, from what I've gathered from watching you on Instagram, you mainly sell on Amazon wholesaling, correct? And
Right.
so so far you did, I think you said 1.7 million so far in sales, gross sales on Amazon. Talk a little bit about I don't mean to bug you, but we kind of talk about the nuts and bolts of kind of how this whole business runs and how you run your business. Do you have employees? You have overhead? You have a warehouse? Talk to us a little bit about how your whole business is ran a little bit. So most of my audience is primarily eBay sellers. So when you talk about selling on Amazon, it's like comparing apples to oranges. Like, you're similar, but it's not exactly the same.
Yeah. So when I first started on selling on Amazon, I was doing the arbitrage model. I was basically finding used items at thrift stores, garage sales, estate sales, Facebook Marketplace. There's a huge market on Amazon for used things, used books, used electronics, used video games, used media. That you can sell a lot of collectible toys that aren't new. So I was doing arbitrage. I was going to Walmarts and Targets and Kohl's and different stores like that. I was finding things that I could either get on clearance or get on a discount, and I was just flipping those on Amazon. Same thing online arbitrage. On any given day, let's say that Target has a 30% off sale of something today. Well, something that was priced at $10 is now $7. Well, if that product is selling at $16.99 on Amazon, you might be able to make $2 or $3 by flipping it from Target to Amazon. And so I was in the arbitrage model, selling model on Amazon. The problem with the arbitrage model is it's great as a side hustle, and it's great, there you can make a full-time living doing it, but it's hard to scale. It's really, really hard to get into those high 7 figures, into the 8 figures a year on Amazon, and you really, really got to push some volume through, if you want to get to those levels. And so in January 2020, I transitioned to wholesale. So instead of buying things at retail, one-offs, or maybe 3 or 4 that Walmart might have on clearance, I was trying to find, hey, who's supplying Walmart with these products? So instead of getting 4 or 5, I want to be able to get 4 or 5 cases. And when those 4 or 5 cases sell, I want to be able to reorder and get 4 or 5 more cases. And so I kind of transitioned into the wholesale model. And basically the way it works is we get deliveries usually on pallets of cases of different things, and then we'll break them down. This area of our warehouse over here is kind of where we do our prep. So we've got prep tables on the wall there. So a lot of stuff in the grocery category is kind of sold in like 2-packs or 3-packs. And so we'll open up the cases, we'll break them down into 2-packs or 3-packs. We'll polybag them if they need to be bubble wrapped, if they're glass or whatever. And then we'll kind of build them back up onto the pallets, and we'll just ship them back off to Amazon. So that's we get a lot of stuff from distributors now. Instead of retail stores, we're buying from distributor. Sometimes we buy directly from the manufacturer or the brand. So that's kind of the wholesale model on Amazon.
Okay, now since we're talking about the wholesale model, can you elaborate a little bit more? Like, I'm not talking about you specifically, but what kind of margins are we looking at? Because you're trying to do a higher volume.
Right.
So let's say hypothetically you sold an item on Amazon for $100. I know it could be different varying on that item, but let's say you hypothetically sold the item for $100, and out of that $100, you have to subtract your cost of goods for the merchandise. Then you're going to subtract your your Amazon fees, your pick and pack fees, storage fees. You have to pay a fee to have it shipped into the Amazon warehouse, and then you're left with this little bit of piece of the pie left over. So out of that, let's say hypothetically, how much would that be? Like 25%, 30%? Like if you sold an item, let's say for $100, and you subtract your cost of goods, you subtract your Amazon fees, you're left with this much. So what would that typically be for items in the grocery
Sure.
category?
So I'm going to pull up some, let me see, I'll see if I can give you some exact answers. But I would say, so one of the things when you transition into wholesale, I would say you cannot expect, if you're even on Amazon in general, you can't expect thrift store margins, garage sale margins, estate sale margins. It's not to say that there aren't random products out there that you can, like we just found a supplier that had a certain size of like ball mason jars. My buy cost is $10. They sell for $54.99 on Amazon, and it's $25 profit per one. So you got your $10 buy cost, $25 profit. Those aren't, they're out there, but they're not like, every single day. I would say, so that's one of the things when you transition to Amazon is if you come into it thinking with, eBay margins or thrift store margins, or did I bought this, Carhartt coat at a, garage sale for $10 and I sold it for $100. Like, you don't get a lot of that. What you get on Amazon is you get the opportunity for volume. And so I would say, we find a lot of products that we can double our money on in wholesale, and what I found is the more work that you're willing to do, the more you can find those healthier margins. So we sell a lot of glass and a lot of bottles. Well, a lot of people don't like those because you have to bubble wrap them or you have to package them in craft paper or something like that. But we're willing to do that because we've got the space to do it, and we've got the employees to kind of help us through that. So we have a lot of products where we make 100%, more than 100%. We have a lot of products where we make more than 100%. I would say the majority of our products are probably in the 30 to 40% return on an ROI. But what you're trading off for, what you're also getting is you're getting volume. You're selling a lot. If you source your products well, you're selling those things. You're selling a lot of product that you're making 40%.
Okay. If you guys in the chat aren't following our conversation, I'm trying to break it easier for you guys. So let's say hypothetically I was selling this audio book and I paid $10 for it and I sold it on Amazon for $30. What he's saying is by the time you subtract your cost of goods and Amazon fees and all that, his $10 would turn into $20 and he would make potentially $10 profit. So I'm trying to make it easy as you can so you can follow along with what we're talking about. So that's basically what we're talking about is 30% would be, hey, I bought this item for $10, I sold it for 30. The 30% was my cost of goods. Amazon's taking their 30% or whatever, and then I'm going to have the other 10% left over. So you essentially would turn $10 would turn into $20. Is that correct so far?
Well, we kind of look at it like in terms of, when I look at it in terms of return on investment, if I buy something for $10, if that $10 comes back with $3 in profit, that $10 comes back after all the fees and cost of goods as 13, then I would call that a 30% return on that $10 investment. And so there's a lot of products that you can make. Again, if you go into this looking like, well, that's ridiculous, I would never do that in the thrift world or the eBay world, and I used to think the same way. But if you replace that with volume, when you consider volume, just let me see here real quick. So, just today, we've sold 15. 15. We sell some little packs. I don't think I have any laying around. So people that have the little mixes that you can dump in your water bottle, the little singles to go, they're little powder mixes. You take a bottle of water, you dump these in, you shake it up, and you've got a flavored drink. So these mixes we sell for, let me grab one real quick just to kind of give you a good example here, just so people can kind of have a real understanding of, kind of what to expect. But, I know people that'll sell stuff, that they make $1 profit on, but they sell, $3 300 times a day on Amazon. You know what I mean? There's some things that sell thousands of times a day or thousands of times a week. So they're willing to, you know, they're making their money in the volume. So a 4-pack of these little powder things, my buy cost is $3.96. The current sell price on Amazon is $14.18. And after Amazon's fulfillment fees, I'm going to get back $8.
Oh, we just lost them. Sorry, guys. I didn't kick them off the stream. I don't know what happened. Just give me 1 second. What happened? Well, we lost our guest, guys. Hopefully he'll be back. I'm trying to get to all your questions. Sometimes this stuff happens when you're filming live. We just lose internet connection. Let me see if I can send him a message and get him back. Hold on. I think he's coming back. There he is. I was just telling him, I said, I didn't kick him off the chat. I don't know what happened. Go ahead, Eric.
So I went to click to move my browser, and I clicked the close button. But so I was saying, like, a 4-pack of these, you know, these little powdered drinks that you add to your water. My buy cost on those is $3.96. They're currently selling for $14.18. So after fees, I'm going to get back $8.42. So the way I look at it is, Amazon, it sold for $14. Amazon is going to send me $8.42. I paid $3.96. So I made $4.46 profit. My $3, I doubled my $3 plus 50 cents on that. Now that doesn't happen on everything, but I've sold 15 of those today. So at $4.46 times 15, so I've made $67 today on just these little powder drink mixes. Now, and if I can do that every day times 30 days, that's $2,000 a month profit off one SKU on Amazon. If I can keep those, if I can keep finding a distributor that has those in stock and I can keep shipping them in, that's where the money is in wholesale, is when you can, you know, and when you ship those, when we process those, we process them quickly and efficiently, and we just put them on a pallet and we ship them out. And then, you know, we ship a month to 6 weeks worth of supply, and we just sit back and wait for the, you know, wait for them to sell and for the profits to come in. And that's just one example. You know, I would say we sell a lot of things that we make between $2 and $4 profit on. You know, you just sell a lot of volume where you're trying to find see how many orders we had in the last, you know, 30 days. I think we did 5,000, and we're relatively small in terms of like wholesale. You can start getting into you know, Amazon Lit, the guys there, and the Buy Box or Scott Needham. You get some of these other guys, you're talking, you know, big time sellers. We're small scale compared to those guys. But in the last 30 days, we've done 4,600 orders in the last month. So, you know, if we're profiting on average $3, you know, that's 13,000 a month profit on those items that we've sold. So
yeah, it's funny. I was actually just talking to Amazon Lit today. He's going to be on the show in 2 weeks, guys. So nice. I try to bring you some of the best guests I can find, and you know, and try to recruit these guys. So you're saying that you're looking at about $13,000 you're actually netting and bringing home. The good thing is you're not out driving around having to go to thrift stores and yard sales and garage sales to find your inventory. You just order it. It comes to you. Then you box it up, and you're gonna like put it in like a you know, the little shrink wrap, the plastic paper, and then after that, then you ship it in, and you put a logo on it, you put a barcode on it, and ship it in. So first of all, I want to catch up to the guys in the chat. We had Travis R. He wants to know what products you sell. He mainly sells grocery items. The Hollywood Reseller says, amazing interview, guys. Thank you guys for coming on and hanging out with us. The Death Pile Destroyer says that's a big place. I think he was talking about your warehouse. The Hollywood Reseller says, do you also sell locally? Do you do any local reselling?
The only time I do anything locally is if we run into a situation. We had some inventory that was short dated. So you know, with groceries, you've got an expiration date, and Amazon is pretty. They won't accept anything for fulfillment by Amazon that's outside of like 120 or 125 days. So every once in a while, we'll get something that's a little tight window, and then depending on what it is, we'll post it. We'll throw it up on Facebook Marketplace, and it's kind of nice because we have a location here where people can just come up and pick up the inventory. We had some candy bars recently that were getting a little close to expiration, and so we just listed them up on Facebook Marketplace, and people. But we used to do a lot more of that when I was in the eBay world, and I realized for me to get to the level that I want to get to, I need to be right now. I need to be singularly focused and not be chasing I call it shiny object syndrome. Like, ooh, what's over here? What's over here? Oh, there's a bolo. Oh, there's a deal. Oh, there's an estate sale. Oh, I saw a sign that said, going out of business. So I've had to kind of discipline myself to say, like, hey, stay focused here. And then once you kind of get this thing running on its own and running independently, then you can step out and, maybe do these little side quests, have a little fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's a totally different world on Amazon versus eBay. Like, for example, I shipped out this Simpsons season 6 or whatever, I think the other day, and I paid 50 cents for it, and I sold it on eBay for $24. So the margin from 50 cents to 24, there's a lot of margin there versus your item that you got. For example, you paid $4 for it and you're selling it for 16, and you're saying you're profiting 8 off of your $4 investment turns into $8. Your margin is here. But the idea is you can just reorder it over and over again. I was going to say, guys, in the chat, if you guys don't know, you can get those same type of powdery drink mix he's talking about at the Dollar Tree for $1, and you can put it on eBay and then do the similar situation. And then every time one of them sells, you just pull the order straight from Dollar Tree, put it in a little 6x9 padded envelope, and ship it out to your customer. So you can have replenishable items similar to that. But what he's saying is, in order for him to get $10,000 or $13,000 in actual profit, he has to sell a larger quantity of an item. You couldn't do that selling 20 items out of your garage. That's why you have a warehouse, correct?
That's why I wanted to. Yeah, for me, it wasn't about the money. It became when I started kind of getting rid of some of those thoughts, like, oh, you're never going to be as big as these guys, and you're all these things. It just became like, okay, well, what are you capable of? You know what I mean? What are you really capable of? And so now it just kind of became a quest to just kind of see, like, it's almost like a video game. Like, I just kind of want to see what kind of high score can I get? You know what I mean? So it's just, I'm playing a game against myself, and I'm having fun building it and learning to scale. And we just hired we've got 3 employees, just hired a 4th today, just learning about business and learning how to grow and scale and delegate and all that kind of stuff. So for me, it's just kind of like it's kind of fun. I really, really enjoy it. And if I end up making a lot of money at the end of it, great. And if not, then I'll go try to find something else to do.
All right, Eric, we had a question from Chandra. She says, how much does it cost to get started? If somebody wanted to get started in reselling or doing wholesale and selling stuff on Amazon, and they wanted to do something similar to what you're doing, what would be the upfront money they would need to get started?
Well, if you're not selling on Amazon right now, anybody can kind of get into what's called retail arbitrage. Not to insult anybody's intelligent, but arbitrage just means buy in one marketplace and flip it on another marketplace. You find it at this market price and you flip it on another market that's selling on a higher price. So retail arbitrage is just, hey, I'm walking into retail stores, finding things that I can flip on Amazon, and there are a lot of products that works on, because a couple things. One, let's say that Lego Star Wars Lego set at Walmart, normal price $49.99, decides, we're going to clearance these out, and they move it down to $20. Well, just because Walmart's clearance it out doesn't mean that Amazon has clearanced it out. So those those $20 Legos may still be selling for $50 on Amazon. So you buy them at $20, you flip them on Amazon at $50. There's tons of opportunities to get into Amazon if you're willing to kind of go to the retail stores and look for things. Stores like Walmart, Marshalls, Ross, TJ Maxx, Kohl's, Target, dollar stores, Dollar Tree, stuff like that. So to get into retail arbitrage on Amazon, I mean, you could start with, $500. You could start with $1,000. Wholesale is a little bit more, not a ton more. Most wholesale distributors that we work with have $1,000 minimum order. So your very first order, is going to need to be at least $1,000 for a distributor to want to do business with you. But I started this whole thing. I think I convinced my wife to pull $1,000 out of the family money to kind of throw at it. And then I think when she wasn't looking, I might have dipped in and taken a little bit more. So I probably started this whole thing in 2017 with maybe $2,000.
Okay.
And I just kept the money. I've kept the money in the business as long as I could. Now that's another thing I want to preface by saying too is because we had kind of put ourselves in a position financially, and my wife had a good job, I was able to just keep flipping the profits and just keeping them right in the business and into more inventory. I didn't have to, make $1,000, pull $700 out to pay for the mortgage or pay the car payment or something like that. I just kept flipping the profits as long as I could into the business.
Okay, Eric. I got a question. You said like for this month, for example, you might make $13,000 that you're going to make net this month, right? Now, when I put that in my calculator and divide it by 4 weeks, that's like $3,250 a week. That's only, that's to me that, at the time you pay, you have 4 employees you have to pay. I don't know about in Michigan, but here in Florida, they just raised minimum wage up to $15 an hour. And so if I was going to try to duplicate what you're doing here in Florida, it sounds like a lot of hoops I would have to jump through, because for me in Florida to get something, a warehouse similar to what you have for 3,000 to 4,000 square feet, I would probably be paying, I don't know, at least $1,500 to $2,000 a month for the warehouse. Then I had to pay for water and electric and all the other expenditures that go along with that. And like I said, if I had 4 employees and I paid them $15 an hour, and I don't know how many hours your employees work, but let's say if they work full time, that would be $600 a week times 4 employees. That would be $2,400 a month right there. So if not even counting the warehouse, if you take 33,250 and minus $2,400 a week, that'll literally leave me with $850 a week. Right. So to me, in my brain, I'm like, man, if all you're going to be netting is $850 a week by the time you pay your overhead expenses and your employees, you'd be better off getting a job somewhere making $1,000 a week as opposed to that. But you have a lot lower expenses. Is there something else that you can kind of help me fill in the gap? Because in my brain, I'm like, something doesn't make sense to me. Can you elaborate?
Well, first of all, that 13,000 or whatever, and that was just a ballpark. I just kind of did some quick math there, and now that's gross. That's before wages and taxes and things like that. So, year to date, my business again, I just logged into QuickBooks. So right now we're at about $37,000 profit year to date. So first quarter, $37,000, and that is net. That's after taxes and wages and all of our expenses, software, all that kind of stuff. So if that continues, so I guess I didn't get to this point. Like I started off, I did it all by myself, and I kept the money in the business as long as I could, and I was continuing to just kind of source good stuff. I saw somebody made a comment in the chat that said that they tried retail arbitrage, and it just kind of seemed to be like a price war with other resellers. I would say I got better at knowing how to source and avoiding those price wars. It got to the point where it was just like, okay, I can't quite grow. I'm doing okay. I can't quite grow until I hire somebody to help me with the prep. And so I hired one kid and then one college kid. And then it was just like, you know what, I need another one. And then we hired another one, and then we just hired an administrative assistant to kind of take over some of the clerical tasks, the bookkeeping and stuff like that. So I'm in a unique situation because I don't need to pull the money out of the business right now. And I know that not everybody's in that situation. You know what I mean? Like we've been debt free for a long time. That was kind of left college with student loans and credit card debts, and it was just like, this isn't any fun. You know what I mean? And so we've been pretty disciplined over the years to just kind of put ourselves in a position financially where we don't have to, furnace goes out, we don't want to be going, hey, how do we feed our kids this week or whatever. So so I'm in a unique position where I don't really have to take a lot of money out of the business, and not everybody has that luxury.
Okay, so Eric, kind of walk me through, because we don't have much time left with you, because I know you have other things to do today. So kind of walk me through it. If I'm a one-man band, I'm a one-man guy doing this, and I wanted to get started in wholesaling, how do I go about doing this whole thing? Tell me what I need to do, like start to finish. Is there a video that I should watch? Is there a course? What should I do in order to start to figure this thing out from start to finish? If you're just a one-man band, you don't have 5 employees, you don't have a warehouse, it's just you by yourself. How would you go about getting started to do this?
Well, a lot of people actually use prep centers. There are companies around the country that will do and prep all your inventory for you. So what I would do if I was in your situation and I really wanted to scale and get into wholesale, I would hire a prep center where basically I place these orders and instead of having it shipped to me, I would just have it shipped to the prep center. And so you just have to source products that have enough profit in there to meet your numbers, and also to cover the prep cost. Prep costs for Amazon sellers, general rule of thumb, is about $1. So if somebody's going to take two jars of hot sauce and they're going to bundle them together as a 2-pack, general rule of thumb is that's going to cost about $1. Every prep center is a little different. So as long as you kind of have enough room in your profit, in what you're sourcing, that's what I would do. Is I would use a prep center to really help me scale. But if it's just a side hustle, again, it's just I was when I went full time, I was shopping one day. I used to take these, like, I would leave Michigan in I did this in end of September, early October, and I would do like a 12-state shopping trip, and I would rent a trailer, and I would source all the way down from Michigan down to Tennessee, over to Illinois, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, and I would come home with all this inventory, and I would process it, and I would ship it off, and then within a month it was gone. And it was like I made a lot of money on that inventory, but it's like, now what? You know what I mean? Like, how am I going to replenish all that? You know what I mean? And so I realized one day that I was shopping, and I came to this conclusion, like, I'm not building a business. Don't lie to yourself, Eric. Don't convince yourself that this is a business. You're a shopper. You're a professional shopper. Now, that's still more fun than teaching, but you're not building a business, because as soon as you stop shopping, your business disappears. As soon as you stop going to Marshall's, and as soon as you stop going to, Target and Kroger and all this stuff, your business shuts down. You don't have a business. And I was like, okay, now I want to build a business. I want to create something that runs independently of just me constantly chasing down inventory. And again, that was a choice I made. I have people that are good friends of mine that are Amazon sellers that are killing it, and they love chasing the inventory. They love it, man. Right. They get a hot lead, a hot bolo, and they're like, dude, I'm hitting every Walmart east of the Mason-Dixon line. You know what I mean? Like, they love it. But for me, it just got to the point where it's just like, this isn't fun anymore. And so now the fun I have in this business is trying to learning about building a business, what it takes to create, finding employees, figuring out payroll taxes, all that. I'm kind of enjoying that part of it.
Okay, yeah. So what you're saying is that by the time you got all your items and you shipped them into Amazon FBA, you're like, I'm right back to where I started again, having to look for more merchandise. And now you can just place wholesale orders, have them shipped to your warehouse, and then whenever they run out of stock, you can just make a phone call, place another order, and just continuously replenishing your inventory, correct?
Yeah, we placed, and again, we're small potatoes. You get Eric on here from Amazon Lit, and you're going to talk to some big dogs. But yeah, so yesterday we placed 3 orders, anywhere from we usually place orders weekly. Yesterday we placed an order for $5,000, another order for $3,000, and another order for $2,200. So we spent $10,000 yesterday from some of our main suppliers, and we'll get that in and we'll process it and we'll prep it. And as soon as that stuff starts to sell out, we'll go back to these same people and we'll say, hey, just send us some more.
Okay, Eric, I got a quick question for you. Have you run the numbers? Would it be cheaper for you to just have your stuff ordered and have it sent into a prep center as opposed to hiring 4 employees in a warehouse? Or do you just have such low overhead of paying your employees and such low overhead of the building where you're just like, no, it's much more cost effective and it's much more easier for me to go run it out of the warehouse? Have you run the numbers on those two?
Yeah, well, for me, the way I look at it is if it's $1 a unit, if somebody's going to charge me $1 a unit to prep it. So some of the stuff that we sell, a lot of the stuff in the grocery space, you can't really ship directly into Amazon because Amazon will sticker things for you, they will polybag things for you, but they won't bundle things for you. So if I'm selling 2 jars of hot sauce, they won't put those 2 things in a poly bag for me. So I either have to do it myself or I have to have a prep company do that for me. So prep companies charge anywhere from $1 or so. The way I look at it is if I'm paying my guys $14 an hour, they can prep way more than 14 units an hour. So if I was using a prep center, I would be paying $1 a unit. These guys can prep, depending on what it is, anywhere between 50 and 80 units an hour. So I look at it as like I could pay, let's say that they prep 75 units an hour. I could pay a prep center $75 to do that, or I could pay them $14 plus taxes. It's more than $14, but so the labor it's I can get more units prepped by paying labor.
Yeah, I understand. It's just to me, because I just sell on eBay and I don't have a ton of employees. So when you're talking about that, I'm thinking about workman's comp. I'm thinking about all this other stuff that goes along with that. Somebody fall and twist their ankle and gets hurt on the job. I'm just like, man, is there any way where you could just avoid all that and just do it by yourself? I would be worried that someone would come into your warehouse and slip and fall in some water and try to sue you. Just all this craziness. And I'm just like, man, there's got to be a way where you can sit in the prep center and avoid all that risk and all the overhead and all the expenses and having all those employees. But anyways, I want to say hello to a few people in the chat. Gravity Goods is here. I sent you a message on Instagram, Cameron. Amanda is here. Small Town Picker is here. She says, are you ungated and everything? Well, I want to elaborate real quick. When you buy something, you ship it into Amazon. If you have a receipt from that wholesaler, you're automatically ungated in that category. Is that correct?
Because it's so much easier. Yeah, when you get an invoice from a distributor, for your order, it's so much easier. Like we get approval pretty much instantly for everything that we sell. It's definitely a lot easier. I started my Amazon account in 2017, and I just tried to everybody just kept telling me, just keep selling, keep your account in good standing, keep customers happy, and eventually over time you'll start getting auto approvals. And so we're approved to sell a lot of stuff, and the stuff that we're not approved to sell, more like I just placed an order for something we're not approved, but I know I feel comfortable placing the order because I know the paperwork that they give me is going to get me ungated in the category. Amazon, the whole gating thing with Amazon is not as Amazon's pretty straightforward. They're like, listen, we just want to make sure you're selling legit stuff. Just show us your paperwork, and we'll glad it's. I don't think it's like a lot of people used to think, like, they're just standing there, just waiting to say no. Give them the paperwork that they want, and they'll let you in.
Well, Amazon considers their customers their customers. They don't look at them as your customer. They consider them as theirs, and they want to have repeat customers. Right. So if you're sending them some knockoff shoes or a knockoff purse or something, they're not going to be inclined to come back and buy from them again. So they want to make sure everything you're sending in is legitimate, right? 100%. So I wanted to say hey to the Death Pile Destroyers. Chandra is in the chat. Small Town Picker is here. I wanted to say hey to P2P. Dante is in the chat hanging out with us. Wanted to say hello to Lewis. Amanda is here, and I hope I didn't miss anybody. The Hollywood Reseller says, in your opinion, is it possible to get the same amount of sales on eBay?
You just have to get a lot of inventory. Again, for me, I just thought from a scaling standpoint, Amazon was the best way to really scale. But I mean, there are people that are killing it, absolutely destroying it on eBay. So I would say absolutely, if you can find good inventory.
I see people all the time that are eBay sellers. They just grow their business. Like, for example, if you guys watch Daily Refinement, he has 14, 15,000 items in his eBay store, but he does, I don't know, probably $30,000-$40,000 a month and sells every month on eBay. So you would just have to scale it. Like you said, to Eric, his mind is, he's like, hey, I'm going to scale on Amazon. For me to have, 15, 20,000 items in his eBay store, for him being a one-man guy, that would be a whole lot as far as storage, picking, packing, pulling orders. Like, if you had 1,000 orders that came in one day on eBay, you would be there all day trying to pull 1,000 orders on eBay. Whereas Amazon, you have someone to pick and pack and fulfill the orders for you. Small Town Picker says, do you hire someone to source for you? Is that possible that you could hire somebody to help source and pull items for you and stuff, as far as getting items for Amazon?
So we actually have a team of virtual assistants, employees from overseas. We've got three employees from the Philippines and one from Pakistan, that because of the time change and because of the value of the dollar, we're able to kind of the arbitrage of dollars. American dollars go farther in those countries. So we have a small team of people in those countries that basically do wholesale sourcing for us. So I'll give them leads, or let's say we get a new account. And what I'll do is I'll give them the catalog, and I'll say, hey, you guys go through this catalog one by one and give me a list of the things that look like we can potentially make money on it. So I'm utilizing virtual assistants or VAs to do a lot of the sourcing stuff for me.
So Eric, we're almost out of time. Before we let you go,
I've got some more,
maybe 3 or 4
longer. I thought I had to get off here right at 4 today, but I can go a little bit longer. If there's other questions, I can go longer than I originally thought I could.
Okay, well, I have a few questions for you. Could you give us maybe 2 or 3 tips that would help somebody if they wanted to get started, they wanted to do retail arbitrage on Amazon, or they wanted to go ahead and start doing wholesaling? Like, what would be 2 or 3 tips that you would advise them that would help them get their wheels rolling and get started in this?
So first thing I would do is sign up for an Amazon seller account. When you go to sign up, be very careful. Amazon hides it. They don't want you to see it, but it's there. They have 2 selling plans. They have a free selling plan and they have a paid selling plan. They make it very clear how to sign up for the paid selling plan. They don't show you how to sign up. They kind of hide the free one. But the free selling plan is called an individual selling plan. And basically what they do is they say, we're not going to charge you, but for every item you sell, we're going to charge you $1. The professional plan is $40 a month. So you don't really need the professional selling plan until you are selling more than 40 items a month. You get to the point where you're selling 100 items a month. Well, it makes sense to go, why would I pay $1 for 100 items when I could just pay $40 for the whole plan? So I would sign up for an Amazon seller app. Make sure you follow the fine print. You can use your same Amazon buying account. You don't have to have anything special. Amazon is a business, and you said it earlier. They are very protective of their customers. They have this belief that it's easier and cheaper to maintain a customer than it is to go out and acquire a new customer. So they will do everything in their power to make sure that every customer they have has a positive experience. And so they want to make sure that you're legit. They want to make sure that you're not a scammer. So they will make you jump through some hoops to make sure you prove that you are who you say you are, that your address matches your driver's license and your bank account. So because they get a lot of scammers, they get a lot of people trying to manipulate the system. So I guess the other thing I would say, you can look at the restrictions on Amazon as frustration pain points, but those barriers to entry I look at those things as like, most people are going to get to those barriers and they're going to quit. You know what I mean? Like if you look at those and see them as like, hey, I'm willing to jump over this fence because most people won't, then, you might have some opportunities that they won't. But I would sign up for the free seller account. I would scan things that you have in your house. anything that's got a barcode, scan it just to get an idea of like, how do the fees work on Amazon?
Right.
You know what I mean? What are the selling points? Somebody mentioned in the chat earlier that, you know, one of the advantages of Amazon over eBay is because there's a larger customer base, and there are some customers that there's a reputation. I don't know if reputation is the right word, but there's a level of trust on Amazon. You know what I mean? That eBay, you know, hopefully it works out. I don't know who this guy is that I'm buying it from. Most customers that are Amazon customers know that Amazon will take care of them. So that often brings higher prices. Things that are selling on eBay for $20 might sell for 25 or 30 on Amazon. So check the stuff you have laying around your house. And then I would say, you know, just, you know, try to scrounge up a small box of stuff to just send it. Stuff you got laying around the house. Maybe you scanned some stuff at a thrift store, garage sale. Maybe you had some books laying around that, you know, you don't read anymore. You already read, and the app says, hey, this is going to sell for, you know, and you're going to make $6 profit on or whatever. Just kind of put together a box, learn how to do an Amazon FBA shipment, or you can fulfill by merchant. You know, I mean, you can ship stuff yourself. There's pros and cons to doing it that way. And then, you know, the restrictive process, like the restrictions that Amazon has in place, those are not that difficult to get past. You know, when you first start selling on Amazon, Amazon puts you in a box. I call it a sandbox. Can you play nicely in this tiny little sandbox? Show us that you can, and over time, we'll give you more access to the rest of the playground. You can get into the other parts of the playground quicker if you have, you know, the paperwork that lines up. You know what I mean? And that's not difficult to get. It's just, yeah, that would be my advice. Free seller app, scan stuff around your house. You know, estate sales, garage sales, you know, any place where you're currently sourcing. It's got a barcode, look it up, see what it sells for on Amazon. If it's got a model number, you know, let's say that you sell you see a Sony video camera at a Salvation Army, look up the model number on Amazon, see what it sells for. There's a lot of used stuff gets sold on Amazon.
We got a quick question from Small Town Picker. Says, I thought $1 an item is for FBM only. It's not. Is that when you first get started with a free account, they're going to charge you $1 an item? Is that for Amazon FBA and Merchant Fulfilled? Is that for both of them or just one?
That's a great question. I know it is for fulfilled by Amazon FBA. I don't know. Because I don't think you need a professional plan if you're going to sell fulfilled by merchant. I could be wrong on that, but I know for FBA, basically, if you sell something and Amazon goes, okay, you know, after fees, you were going to net $10. Because you're on the individual plan, we're going to take an extra $1, so we're going to give you $9. I'm not sure about the fulfilled by merchant, but
okay. Yeah, I just want to ask because I'm not on the Amazon platform. I want to double check with you. So basically, if you're on the fence, the thing would be go ahead and download the Amazon seller app and just go ahead and start scanning items. And you need to just go ahead and get your first like shipment together to be shipped in, right? And then you can go from there, correct?
That's what I would do. And where you're currently sourcing, just start to compare prices. You know, you see something, obviously used clothes doesn't sell well. I don't even think you can sell used clothes on Amazon, but used electronics, books, used board games, used puzzles. During COVID, when we were all kind of quarantined at the beginning, I went out and bought a couple puzzles, put them together, and put them back in the box and sold them used on Amazon. Made a profit on it after I put the puzzle together. Like, you know, puzzles, books, electronics, video games. You know, groceries. There are people that are flipping pet food, you know, going to Kroger's and you know, Publix and stuff like that, and flipping cat treats. And I mean, there's so many opportunities.
So Eric, I got a question. If someone is doing retail arbitrage, let's say I'm at Walmart and I'm in the clearance section at Walmart and I'm scanning barcodes, what kind of profit margin should I be looking for when I'm looking for items to ship into Amazon FBA that I want to resell? What kind of profit margin should you be looking at if you start scanning barcodes? So I mean, should you just say, hey, you know, $2 is good, $5? Right. Are we looking for $10 profit margin? Like, what is the profit margin that we should be aiming for?
I think it depends on the way Amazon has a rank for their products. They call it a bestseller rank or a BSR. So you can tell from your seller app whether something is really popular or if it's maybe not so popular. So you start to kind of learn over time. Like, let's say a video game that's ranked 20,000 is an okay selling video game. Maybe it sells 10, 12 copies a day. Well, you contrast that with like health and beauty. Something ranked 20,000 in health and beauty might sell 100 times a day. So you start to learn like what categories, kind of what range. So my general rule of thumb is, as the rank goes up, here's number one best selling. As that creeps away from one, my profit margin needs to rise, because the longer it takes to potentially sell, the longer we're going to have the potential for the prices to drop. I want a little more cushion. But if I see something, if I scan something and it's a cosmetic, and it's ranked, 1,400 in health and beauty, that is going to be sold the second that it gets shipped in. You know what I mean? So if that's got a $2, $3, $4, $5, profit, I don't have any fears about that. And even if it does sell drop the price, they're going to sell their inventory pretty quickly, and that price is going to come back up. So I guess it would be the higher the rank, and that's something you'll need to learn. And there's guys on YouTube that talk about that. Different categories have different ranks. So for the grocery category, we kind of stay under 100,000. But like if you're a bookseller on Amazon, like a lot of these guys will go up as high as 2 million, in books. But in like video games, like anything outside of like, 30, 40,000 is kind of like, it's getting a little bit high there. So yeah, just the higher the rank, the higher profits you want to have.
All right, Eric, tell everybody where they can follow you on YouTube and Instagram. I have your links down below in the description below.
Okay. Yeah, we primarily Instagram. I started getting distracted with YouTube and created a YouTube channel, and I had to remind myself, like, hey, just grow your business. You know what I mean? Like stick to what you're good at, or what don't chase the shiny objects. So I do my only platform for social media right now is Instagram, and my screen name is the Reselling Teacher. I just that's the Reselling Teacher on Instagram is the best way to. If they're not following me, that's where you should follow me.
Awesome. Yeah, I have his links down below in the description. We've had you here for over an hour today, so we appreciate you taking time out of your day to come and hang out and talk with us, the resellers. So give us your final thoughts, Eric, and we'll let you go.
Final thoughts. If you guys have any questions, I love helping. I was a teacher for 20 years, and I really do enjoy helping people. I know I was there, like all the frustrations, the confusion, the acronyms, the like all these things about Amazon, like that I just didn't know. And I love helping people, get past those hurdles. So, if you have any questions, shoot me a DM. If I don't know the answer, I'll do my best to point you to a resource that does have the answer. That's what I would leave you with. If you guys, if you're intrigued by Amazon, it can be a little bit overwhelming, but it's an incredible marketplace. And I have several friends that when they made the transition from eBay to Amazon, they've just chosen they've said I'll never look back. You know what I mean? Because once they learned it, they realized you don't have to create the listings, you don't have to take the pictures, you know what I mean? If you use fulfillment by Amazon, all the customer service is handled by Amazon. So yeah, that's what I'd leave you with is if you guys need help, shoot me DM.
All right, awesome. Yep, I have his links down below in the description below, and I will see you guys later. I wanted to say hello to Travis. I wanted to say hey to Harry Humstone. I wanted to say hey to Annie, Gail, Small Town Picker, Nanny Pie, Trinkets and Doodads. I wanted to say hello to P2P, Hollywood Reseller, Amanda Brown was in the chat, and Lewis Moore. So thank you guys in the chat. I hope I didn't miss you guys, but I will see you guys on the next one. Like I said, I got my money, Eric. His links are down below in the description if you want to go follow him. And I'll see you guys on the next one. You guys have a great day. Bye, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye.